The greatest trick the devil ever pulled. Wasn't convincing the world he didn't exist. It was convincing the world that he was a genius. You know the story. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, the teenage Pan Am pilot, the doctor, the lawyer, the man who stole millions, and led the FBI on a global chase. It's a romantic story. It's a story of rebellion. It represents the ultimate American dream, getting everything for nothing. But I have a question for you. What if I told you that the movie wasn't based on a true story? What if the autobiography was just another forged check? The pilot uniform? Never happened. The daring escapes? Fabricated. The millions of dollars? Exaggerated. Frank Abagnale didn't just con the banks. He didn't just con the airlines. He conned Hollywood. He conned the FBI. And most importantly, he conned you. Welcome to Dark Focus. And this is the real story of the man who lied about his lies. Let's start with the legend, the version of history we all accepted as fact. In 1960s America, trust was the currency. A uniform commanded respect. A check was as good as gold. Into this world steps Frank Abagnale Jr. According to his book, he impersonated a Pan Am pilot for years, deadheading on flights to 26 countries, living the high life. He claimed to work as a pediatrician in Georgia, overseeing interns, saving lives, with zero medical training. He claimed to pass the bar exam in Louisiana, a legal prodigy, at 19. It sounds impossible, and yet we ate it up. Why? Because we love the archetype of the gentleman thief, the charming rogue who hurts no one, but the faceless banks. The movie Catch Me If You Can cemented this image forever. Spielberg directed it. It grossed over $300 million. It made Frank a celebrity. He became the authority on deception. But the foundation of this empire was built on sand. Facts are stubborn things. They don't care about box office numbers, and they certainly don't care about a con man's legacy. Enter Alan C. Logan, an investigative journalist who did something nobody else did. He checked the records. You see, Frank claimed that between the ages of 16 and 21, he was flying the world, operating in hospitals, practicing law, but prison records suggest a different reality. A much darker reality, or perhaps a much more boring one. While Frank claims he was in a cockpit over Europe, records show he was actually sitting in a cell in Comstock, New York, convicted of petty theft. He wasn't stealing millions from banks. He was stealing from the family of a girl he dated. He was stealing from his own father. Small-time scams, desperate moves, not the work of a mastermind, but the work of a troubled delinquent. The timeline is mathematically impossible. He was incarcerated during the very years he claimed to be living his catch me if you can life. So, how can you be a doctor in Georgia when you are an inmate in New York? You can't. So, if he didn't do it, how did he become famous for doing it? This is the brilliance of the Metacon. Frank realized something profound about human nature. People don't want the truth. They want a good story. In the late 70s, he went on a game show to tell the truth. He told tall tales. The audience applauded. The producer smiled. He realized that if he made the lies big enough, nobody would check. Who goes to the archives to verify a Pan Am Pilot roster from 10 years ago? Nobody. Not in the pre-internet age. He started lecturing. He wrote the autobiography. He sold the movie rights. It became a feedback loop. The more he talked, the more famous he became. The more famous he became, the more true his story seemed. He wasn't selling fraud. He was selling entertainment. And the price of admission was our suspension of disbelief. But Frank didn't do this alone. He had accomplices, unwitting, or perhaps willful. The media. Journalists love a scoop. The skywayman. The baby-faced con artist. It sells papers. Fact-checking is expensive. Sensationalism is profitable. And then there's the FBI. Frank claims he worked with the FBI for decades, teaching them how to catch guys like him. But sources suggest his role was minimal. Basic lectures, nothing like the top consultant status he claimed. Why didn't the Bureau expose him? Perhaps because it made them look good too. Look, we caught the genius. Look, we turned the wolf into a sheepdog. It's good PR for the feds. It's a symbiotic relationship. The liar gets the fame. The chasers get the glory. And the truth gets buried in the filing cabinet. In the information age, secrets don't last forever. The internet remembers everything, and it exposes everything. Journalists began digitizing old records. They found the mugshots. They found the court transcripts. They found the victims. Not banks, not faceless corporations, but regular people. People he betrayed. The romantic hero facade cracks. Underneath, we see a man who is arguably a stalker, a petty thief, someone who ran away from responsibility, not towards adventure. Frank Abagnale is a genius, just not the kind you thought. His genius wasn't forgery. His genius was branding. He took a life of failure and rebranded it as a life of spectacular success. He monetized his own mediocrity, and that is the ultimate business crime. We live in a world of curated realities, Instagram lives, LinkedIn achievements. We edit our stories to make them palatable, to make them enviable. Frank Abagnale is simply the patron saint of the fake it till you make it culture. The lesson here is harsh. We are easily manipulated because we are desperate for magic. We want to believe that someone can beat the system. We want to believe the impossible. But when you strip away the Hollywood lights and the John Williams score, you are left with a simple, cold fact. The truth is often boring. And the lie is always seductive. Choose what you believe carefully, because the best con men don't take your money. They take your mind. If you want to see through the illusions, if you want to understand the dark psychology of wealth and power, you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button for Dark Focus. Turn on notifications. Because here, we don't sell you the dream. We show you the nightmare. Until next time, watch your wallet and watch the world.